Hey, it's Funfo February, or at least that's what I'm calling it. Today we're going to make a super easy bendy card. I'm going to use some products by Brutus Moreau that I had in my stash and have a little bit of fun. So to get started, let's go ahead and get our card base. We will cut that at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Our pattern piece of paper is going to be cut at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of this so we can go ahead and place it right on top of our cardstock and make this become one. So I love this paper. I was just looking through my stash and found it. I had never used it and I was like, okay, this is cute. Let me cut this up and make this into something special. So I'm pulling out my scoreboard and I'm going to go ahead and score this at 2 3/4 inches. It is pretty thick because of the weight of the cardstock and the pattern paper. So you can see me going over it a couple times just to make sure I'm getting a nice crease. And I'm going to go ahead and bend that backward and forward and we're ready to go. Next, take a piece of cardstock and cut it at 5 by 3 1/4, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch on each side. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why we're doing that as you see this come together. Okay, once you have that scored, you can go ahead and take your bone folder and reinforce the two edges. So now we have two flaps. You're going to want a piece of white cardstock. This is what we're going to use to decorate. And that white piece of cardstock is scored at 3 3/4 by 3 inches. Now I decided I wanted to go ahead and decorate before I adhered this to my blue piece of cardstock. So I found a really cute stencil that I had, and I am making some sun rays using Distress Oxide. I started out with mustard seed, which was my yellow, and now I am going in with orange, just to give it, some shadows, some shades, to make it look like a sun ray. That is so cute. And then a lot of times we have that very stark white background when we use our stencil. So I'm just going over adding some residual ink that is left on my brush to finish that up. Now I did pre-cut some grass. And I'm going to go ahead and take the grass and add some Distress Oxide to the top of the shards of grass just to give it some texture and some shadowing. It makes it look a lot more real when you add just a little bit of Distress Oxide, some ink. It could even be ink. It doesn't have to be Distress Oxide. So pro tip over here, go ahead and distress your pieces. It makes a world of difference. Have you figured out the theme yet? We have some grass, we have some sunshine going on, and surprise, surprise, you'll see as we continue to move along. So I have my grass ready to go. I'm taking my Barely Arts glue. I'm going to add a little bit to the bottom because I am going to place the items that I place into the grass sort of tucked behind the grass. So I didn't want to adhere it fully onto the paper because I want to be able to slide their feet. Oh, I just gave you a clue. Into the grass. Alright, so once this is adhered, our next step is going to be to go ahead and turn this over and snip off any residual grass that we have hanging off of our cardstock. So let's go ahead and put some adhesive on this and layer it right on top of our cardstock. Now remember, we did have 2 flaps on each end that we had used our bone folder to make. And now I just put this right on my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, and I am scoring that in the center. And don't forget, you have those 2 flaps. So be mindful of that. You're going to be scoring at 2 inches right here. And sorry, I got off camera just a little bit, but 2 inches is where you're going to make that score. So we're going to go ahead and get that adhered to the center of our initial card base. And I am using score tape to make this happen. You can feel free to use whatever adhesive you would like, but I like the score tape because it tends to keep things very secure and not any movement. Haven't had anything pop up yet, so a lot of times when I'm doing these fun folds, it is my adhesive of choice as I'm adding things on there. Now remember, our card base, I did score that. So I am just lining this up so they're both in the center, which is going to give us exactly what we need when it comes to the actual bend. Can you see that? Yeah, when I'm back in the camera, you can see that bend. All right, we're not quite finished yet. We are making our little band that we're putting at the bottom of our Bendy card. So I'm taking a piece of cardstock and I cut that at 1 by 6 inches. And then you want to score at each end at a 1/4 inch. So you can go ahead and fold those flaps in. I did want to add a piece of pattern paper, and that is coordinating pattern paper, which is the theme of my project. So I'm just adding some adhesive to the back, and I am going to line that up right in the center. Be mindful you have those flaps on the side. So I do recommend that you either close them or, just be mindful that they are there as you're placing your pattern paper. All right. Now I did pre-stamp my sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead and place that right in the center. And as you can see, this is coming together quite nicely. We're going to work at getting this adhered from one end to the other. So again, we have our little tabs. I am using score tape again. You can use your glue, but we're going to get both ends prepared. I'm going to take off the backing of the score tape. And we're going to go ahead and get this adhered edge to edge, making sure that it's nice and flush along the bottom. And turn that over, do it on the opposite side. And give a little pressure, and here we have it. Look at our Bendy card. We're almost done. So I pre-colored some of these cute images. See how I said I wanted them to be down in the grass? So I'm just looking at placement to decide where I want to put these cuties. Like, should I put it here? Should I put it there? I'm working on it. I added some accents using a white gel pen and some thin 3D foam tape on the back. And I'm just going to go ahead and pop these in here, and we are all done. So this is super cute. I hope you had some fun. Now it's time for you to make one, and I would love to see. So tag me, leave me a comment. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys soon.